the day my dad said something that broke my heart. That day felt ordinary. Nothing warned me. Nothing prepared me for what would come. The room was quiet, too quiet, like it was holding breath, waiting. My dad sat, the calm, familiar, the man I trusted. My whole life, I had always believed. His words were safe. His voice was shelter. His silence was protection. Then he spoke casually, almost carelessly, as if it meant nothing. But it meant everything. It landed sharp, unforgiving. I felt it immediately. A tightness in my chest. A sudden ache that words cannot explain. He did not raise his voice. He did not shout. That made it worse. Much worse. Because calm words can break you deeper than anger ever could. I searched his face for softness, for regret, for misunderstanding, but he looked certain, comfortable, unaware of the damage. In that moment, something cracked inside me, not loudly, not visibly, but permanently. I wanted to speak, to explain myself, to defend my heart, but my voice disappeared. Children expect protection, even when grown, even when strong, even when silent. And that day, I realized something painful. Parents can wound without meaning to, without knowing. His words replayed later, again and again, each time sharper, each time heavier. They followed me home. They followed me to bed. They followed me into dreams. I questioned myself, my worth, my choices, my identity. I wondered if he had always thought this, if he had always seen me this way. That hurt more than the words themselves. I did not cry immediately. Pain sometimes freezes you. It sits quietly, waiting for space. That night, alone in darkness, it finally arrived. Tears fell slowly. Not dramatic, not loud, just honest. I loved him. That never changed. But something shifted. Trust became fragile. I learned that day. Parents are human, flawed, limited, sometimes careless. But children remember every word, every tone, every dismissal. We carry them long after conversations end, long after apologies never come. I never told him how much it hurt. Some pain stays private, too heavy to explain. But I grew different after, more guarded, more quiet, more careful with my heart. That day, my dad said something that broke my heart, and though it healed slowly, the crack remained. A reminder that even love can wound. After that day, nothing looked the same. The house felt familiar, but not safe, not the way it used to. I moved through rooms quietly, as if sound might break whatever was left of that fragile peace. My dad spoke normally, asked normal questions, laughed at small things, as if nothing had happened. That hurt in a different way, because it told me he did not realize what his words had done. I replayed the moment endlessly, his tone, his expression, the exact sentence, as if understanding it better might soften the pain. But it never did. I started measuring myself through his eyes, wondering if I failed, if I disappointed him, if I had become someone he could not respect. Children grow older, but the need for approval never fully disappears, especially from a parent. I smiled when needed, answered politely, did everything right on the surface. Inside, I was shrinking quietly, carefully, so no one would notice. There were things I wanted to tell him, how hard I tried, how much I carried alone. Ho, W, Often I doubted myself, but the words stayed trapped. Fear wrapped around them. Fear of hearing something worse. Fear of confirming my doubts. So I stayed silent, and silence became a habit. At night, the pain returned strongest. When distractions faded, when memories spoke freely, when my guard fell, I wondered if love was supposed to hurt, if this was part of growing up, or if something had truly broken. I still loved him deeply, unconditionally. That confused me. How can love remain when trust feels damaged, when safety feels uncertain, when words linger like wounds? I learned something difficult, that parents don't always know the weight of their voices, the power of their opinions, the permanence of their words. One sentence can live inside a child. For years, for decades, I began building armor, not against strangers, but against the people who mattered most. I became careful with what I shared, with what I hoped, with what I expected, because hope hurts more when it falls from someone you trust. Time passed, and the pain dulled, but it never vanished. It settled like a scar beneath skin. Sometimes he would say something kind, and I would feel warmth briefly before remembering how easily words can cut. I never confronted him, not because I forgave, but because I didn't know how to explain a wound he never saw, so I carried it quietly, like so many do. Loving parents who hurt them without ever knowing. That day changed me, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. It taught me to choose words carefully, to speak gently, to never underestimate the power of a sentence, because I knew now how one moment, one phrase, one careless comment can live forever in someone's heart. And even now, long after that day, his voice still echoes sometimes, in moments of doubt, in moments of fear. But I am learning, slowly, patiently, to replace it with my own, a kinder voice, a stronger one that says, I am enough, even when others fail to say it. And that is how I began healing. From the day my dad said something that broke my heart, as time moved forward, I noticed how that moment quietly shaped my life in ways I never planned. I became careful with dreams, careful with excitement, careful with sharing joy, because I feared it might be dismissed. When something good happened, I hesitated before telling him, measuring the risk of another careless response. Sometimes I said nothing at all, and that silence built distance. Without intention, he remained my father, strong, present, reliable in many ways. Yet something invisible stood between us, not anger, not hatred, just a quiet restraint. I watched other people speak freely with their parents, laugh openly, argue loudly, and still feel safe. I wondered what that felt like, to know words would land softly, to trust the response. No matter what was said, I learned early to validate myself, to answer my own questions, to comfort my own fears. That strength came from necessity, not choice. There were days I wanted to ask him, did you mean it? Do you still think that? Do you know it hurt me? But the fear remained. Fear of reopening the wound. Fear of hearing confirmation. Fear of feeling small again. So I chose peace over clarity, distance over conflict, silence over truth. And life went on. Birthdays passed. Conversati, ons flowed. Smiles returned. From the outside, we looked normal, happy even. But inside me, a part stayed cautious, always alert, always protecting. That day taught me how powerful authority is, how deeply approval matters, how fragile a heart can be. It also taught me to be gentle with others, to pause before speaking, to choose compassion over carelessness, because I knew exactly how it feels when words linger, when they echo, when they shape identity. I started rewriting the narrative, slowly, patiently, replacing his sentence with my own truths. I reminded myself that parents are not mirrors of our worth. They are humans with limits and flaws. Some days, that understanding helped. Other days, it felt like an excuse I made to survive. Healing was not linear. Some memories still stung. Some moments still triggered that old ache. But I no longer let it define me. I acknowledged it, honored it, and kept moving. I learned that heartbreak does not always come from strangers, or lovers, or enemies. Sometimes it comes from the people we love most and expect least from, and surviving that requires a different kind of strength, a quiet one, an enduring one. I still love my dad. That never disappeared. Love is complex like that. But now I love myself too, enough to know one sentence does not decide my worth. The day my dad said something that broke my heart also became the day I learned to protect it, not by closing it, but by strengthening it. And that lesson, though painful, has stayed with me, guiding my voice, guiding my choices, guiding my healing. Even now, I carry it, not as a wound, but as wisdom. There came a time when I stopped waiting for an apology that might never arrive. Waiting had kept me frozen. Hope had kept me vulnerable. Expectation had kept the wound open. So I let go, not of love, but of the need for him to fix what he never noticed. Breaking, I realized something quietly. Parents love the way they know how, not always the way we need, and sometimes that gap becomes pain. I watched him age, lines forming, hair thinning, voice softening, and with that, my anger softened too, not erased, but understood. He carried his own history, his own disappointments, his own unspoken wounds, passed down silently, like inheritance. That did not excuse the hurt, but it explained the silence. I began to see him, not as the man who broke my heart, but as a human who never learned how fragile words could be. This understanding did not arrive suddenly. It came slowly, after many quiet nights, after many internal conversations. I stopped rehearsing what I would say to him, stopped replaying arguments, stopped seeking validation from the past. Instead, I focused forward. I learned to speak kinder to myself than he ever spoke to me. I learned to celebrate my efforts, even when unseen. I learned that healing is not forgetting, it is remembering without bleeding. Sometimes I still hear his words, unexpectedly, in moments of doubt, but now they do not command me. They do not define me. I answer them with my own voice, firm, gentle, certain. I tell myself I am capable, I am worthy, I am enough. And slowly, that voice became louder than his. One day, he said something small, a compliment, a rare one, and for the first time I accepted it, without searching for subtext, without bracing for pain, not because he changed, but because I did. I understood then. Healing is internal. It does not wait for permission. The day my dad said something that broke my heart did not end my story. It reshaped it. It taught me resilience, boundaries, self-respect. It taught me that love can exist alongside disappointment, that forgiveness can live without forgetting. And now, when I speak with